In the heart of a bustling city, where the lights twinkled like stars against the darkened sky, lived a boy named Malik. At just 12 years old, Malik had seen more hardship than many would in a lifetime. His dark skin glistened under the streetlights, but his eyes held a depth that belied his youth, a mix of resilience, sorrow, and an unyielding spirit. Malik had not always been alone. He remembered a time when laughter filled his small apartment, where he lived with his mother and younger sister. They would gather around a rickety table, sharing stories and dreams over meager meals. His mother worked tirelessly at a local diner, her hands calloused from long hours, but her heart full of hope. She often told Malik that they were rich in love, even if their pockets were empty. But life had a way of shifting like the sands beneath their feet. When Malik was 10, his mother fell ill. The doctors spoke in hushed tones, and soon after she was gone, leaving Malik and his sister to navigate a world that felt increasingly hostile. With no family to turn to and no means to support themselves, they were forced to leave their home. His sister was taken in by a distant relative, while Malik was left to fend for himself. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Malik learned to survive on the streets. He found refuge in abandoned buildings and alleyways, where he could escape the biting cold of winter nights. He scavenged for food, sometimes finding leftover scraps in dumpsters or receiving handouts from kind strangers who saw him shivering in the corners of busy streets. Despite his circumstances, Malik held on to hope like a lifeline. He often watched children playing in nearby parks, their laughter ringing out like music that tugged at his heart. He dreamed of being part of that joy again, of having friends and a home where he could feel safe and loved. But as each day passed without change, that dream felt more distant. On this particular December day, the air was crisp with the promise of winter. Snowflakes began to fall gently from the sky, blanketing the city in white. Malik pulled his tattered coat tighter around him as he walked through the streets, searching for warmth and shelter. The holiday decorations hung brightly in shop windows, twinkling lights illuminating faces filled with joy and anticipation for Christmas. As he wandered past a bustling mall adorned with festive cheer, he couldn't help but feel a pang of longing. The holiday season was supposed to be magical, a time for family gatherings and shared moments. But for Malik, it was just another reminder of what he had lost. He paused to watch families enter the mall, their arms laden with gifts wrapped in colorful paper and ribbons. Maybe one day, he whispered to himself, I'll have something too. With each step he took away from the mall, Malik felt more invisible than ever, a shadow among bright lights. But fate had other plans for him that day. As he turned down a quieter street lined with tall trees dressed in snow, something caught his eye. There, partially hidden beneath a pile of leaves near an old bench, was a small box wrapped in shiny red paper with a green bow on top. His heart raced as he approached it cautiously. It seemed so out of place amidst the debris and neglect surrounding him. Malik knelt down and brushed away the leaves with trembling fingers. The box looked pristine, untouched by time or weather, and curiosity bubbled within him like hot cocoa on a cold day. Who would leave such a gift here? And why? He glanced around to see if anyone was watching, but found only empty streets echoing with silence. With no one around to claim it or take it away from him, he decided to pick it up carefully. It felt surprisingly light in his hands. What if it's something amazing, he thought excitedly, as he cradled it against his chest. For a moment, he imagined what could be inside. A toy car that raced faster than any he had ever seen, or perhaps even warm clothes that would shield him from the harsh winter chill. His imagination ran wild with possibilities as he clutched the box tightly. But then, doubt crept in. What if it was just an empty box? Or worse yet, what if it belonged to someone else? He hesitated for just a moment before shaking off those thoughts. After all, it was Christmas Eve, a time for miracles. With renewed determination, Malik decided to find somewhere safe where he could open it away from prying eyes. He headed toward an old library nearby that had closed its doors for the night, but still offered shelter from the wind howling outside. Inside the library's dimly lit entrance hall, he settled down on one of the worn-out benches near the window. The faint glow from a street lamp outside illuminated his face as he placed the box on his lap. With trembling hands and an excited heart pounding against his chest like drums at a parade, he began to untie the bow. As he peeled back the wrapping paper layer by layer, each tug revealing more of what lay beneath, he felt as though time stood still around him. The world faded away until all that existed was this moment, the anticipation building inside him like fireworks ready to burst into color. Finally, as he lifted off the last piece of paper and opened the box wide, Malik gasped at what lay inside. As Malik lifted the lid of the small box, his heart raced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The dim light from the street lamp flickered through the window, casting a warm glow over the contents. He leaned closer, his breath hitching in his throat as he peered inside. Nestled within layers of soft, crinkled tissue paper was something that took his breath away. A brand-new winter coat. Its deep blue fabric shimmered in the light, and it looked so warm and inviting that Malik could hardly believe his eyes. He reached in slowly, his fingers brushing against the soft material, feeling as though he had touched a piece of magic. But that wasn't all. Beneath the coat lay a pair of sturdy boots, perfectly sized for him, and a knitted hat adorned with a playful pom-pom. Malik's eyes widened as he pulled each item out one by one, marveling at their pristine condition. It was as if they had been placed there just for him, waiting for this very moment. Who would do this? He whispered to himself, overwhelmed by a wave of gratitude and disbelief. The thought that someone had cared enough to leave such a thoughtful gift filled him with warmth that contrasted sharply with the coldness outside. He held up the coat, imagining how it would feel to wear something so nice, something that would protect him from the biting winter winds. For so long, he had made do with old clothes that barely kept him warm. Now he felt like he was holding a treasure. Tears pricked at the corners of his eyes as he envisioned how different life could be if he had just a little more warmth and comfort. Malik quickly glanced around the library's entrance hall to ensure no one was watching. It felt surreal, like he had stumbled into a dream where kindness reigned supreme. He couldn't help but smile as he imagined himself wearing the coat and boots, walking confidently down the street instead of shivering in rags. In that moment, Malik made a decision. He would wear these gifts as soon as possible. They were not just items, but symbols of hope and possibility. He carefully folded the coat and placed it back in the box along with the boots and hat, wanting to keep them safe until he could find a place where he could change into them without drawing attention. With renewed energy coursing through him, Malik stood up from the bench and looked out through the library's large glass doors. The snow continued to fall softly outside, blanketing everything in white, a beautiful sight that felt like a promise of new beginnings. As he stepped out into the cold night air, he felt lighter than he had in months. The weight of despair that had clung to him like a heavy fog began to lift. He walked through the streets with purpose, feeling as if each step was infused with hope. The world around him sparkled under the fresh layer of snow, transforming familiar sights into something magical. Malik wandered toward a nearby park where children were playing in the snow, building snowmen and having snowball fights. Laughter echoed through the air like music, filling him with longing for companionship and belonging. He paused at the edge of the park, watching them with envy but also admiration. They seemed so carefree, their joy infectious even from afar. He thought about how different his life could be if only he had someone to share it with. A friend to laugh alongside, or someone who understood what it meant to struggle, yet still find joy in small moments. But for now, he was alone. Still, that didn't dampen his spirits. As he continued walking through the park, Malik spotted an old man sitting on a bench nearby. The man wore layers of clothing but still shivered against the chill. His face was weathered but kind. There was something about him that drew Malik closer. "Excuse me, sir," Malik said hesitantly as he approached. "Are you okay?" The old man looked up at Malik with surprise, but then smiled warmly. "I'm just fine, young man," he replied gently. "Just enjoying this beautiful snowfall." Malik nodded, but couldn't shake off his concern for the man's well-being. "It's really cold out here," Malik said quietly. The old man chuckled softly. "You're right about that. But I have my memories to keep me warm." His eyes twinkled with wisdom as he gazed at Malik thoughtfully. "Do you have somewhere warm to go?" Malik asked, feeling an urge to help despite his own situation. "I've got my little spot under an awning nearby," said the old man with a shrug. "It's not much, but it keeps me out of most of this weather." Malik felt a pang of empathy for him. He understood what it meant to seek shelter wherever one could find it. "I found something today," Malik said suddenly, glancing back at his box of gifts hidden under his coat. "What did you find?" The old man's interest piqued. It's a coat and some boots," Malik replied hesitantly. "They're really nice." The old man raised an eyebrow in surprise. "That sounds wonderful. You should wear them." "I will," Malik promised, feeling proud yet humble about his good fortune. "But I want to make sure I'm ready before I put them on." "Wise choice," said the old man approvingly. "You know, kindness often comes when we least expect it." Malik nodded thoughtfully as they shared a moment of silent understanding, a connection formed through shared experiences of hardship and resilience. After exchanging pleasantries for a while longer, Malik decided it was time to head back toward his makeshift home for the night, a small nook behind an old bookstore where he had managed to find some comfort amidst chaos. As he walked away from the park and toward his shelter, thoughts swirled in his mind about how this unexpected gift would change everything for him, how it represented not just warmth against winter's chill, but also hope for brighter days ahead. With each step back into familiar territory came renewed determination. Maybe tomorrow would bring new opportunities, or even new friends who would share in this journey toward healing together. Little did Malik know that this Christmas Eve would mark just the beginning of an incredible transformation, not only for himself, but also for those around him who would soon become part of his story. Unpacking the gift. As Malik made his way back to his makeshift home behind the old bookstore, the excitement bubbled within him like a pot of water on the verge of boiling. He could hardly contain himself, his heart racing with anticipation. The box felt like a treasure chest in his hands, holding not just clothing, but a glimmer of hope that had been absent from his life for far too long. Once he reached his nook, a small space sheltered by a stack of discarded crates, he carefully set the box down on the ground. The dim light from a nearby street lamp filtered through the alley, illuminating the treasures inside. With trembling hands, he took a deep breath and prepared to unveil what lay within. He opened the box slowly, savoring each moment as if it were a precious gift in itself. The first thing he pulled out was the winter coat. It was heavier than he expected, and its deep blue fabric felt soft and warm against his skin. He held it up to the light, marveling at how new it looked. No frays, no stains, just pure warmth waiting to envelop him. Malik imagined slipping into that coat for the first time. He envisioned how it would feel to have something that truly belonged to him, something that would shield him from the cold and offer a sense of security he hadn't felt in ages. He could almost hear his mother's voice in his head, telling him how important it was to take care of himself and stay warm. With a smile creeping onto his face, he decided to try it on right then and there. He slipped off his tattered jacket and put on the new coat. As he fastened the buttons, he felt an overwhelming sense of comfort wash over him. It fit perfectly, like it was made just for him. The coat wrapped around him like an embrace from a long-lost friend. Next came the boots. Malik reached into the box again and pulled out the sturdy footwear. They were black, with bright orange laces that seemed to shout joy into the otherwise muted colors of his life. He sat down on one of the crates and carefully laced them up, feeling their snug fit around his feet. Standing up, he took a few steps and couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. The boots felt solid beneath him, grounding him in a way that made him feel invincible. He imagined walking through the city with confidence, no longer just a shadow blending into the background, but someone who belonged. Lastly, Malik picked up the knitted hat adorned with a pom-pom on top. It was soft and warm, and as he placed it on his head, he felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude wash over him. It was more than just clothing. It was a reminder that kindness existed in this world, a beacon of hope amidst darkness. He sat back down on his crate, surrounded by his newfound treasures, and reflected on what this gift meant to him. It wasn't just about warmth or protection from the cold. It represented love and compassion from someone who had never met him yet understood his struggles. It was as if this anonymous giver had reached into Malik's heart and found exactly what he needed most. Tears brimmed in Malik's eyes as he thought about how long it had been since someone had shown him such kindness. In those moments of despair when loneliness threatened to swallow him whole, this gift felt like a lifeline, a reminder that he was not forgotten. As he sat there in silence, wearing his new coat and hat while admiring his boots, Malik began to dream again, dreams that had been buried under layers of hardship and sorrow. He envisioned going back to school one day, sitting at a desk with other children who laughed and shared stories during recess. He pictured himself making friends who would stand by him through thick and thin. But most importantly, he dreamed of reuniting with his sister, the little girl who had once filled their home with laughter and joy. The thought of her brought both warmth and pain. He missed her terribly, but held on to hope that they would find their way back to each other someday. With newfound determination coursing through him, Malik made a promise to himself. He would not let this gift go to waste. He would use it as motivation to strive for better days ahead, not just for himself, but for everyone who struggled like he did. That night, as Malik settled down in his nook beneath the stars twinkling overhead, wrapped in warmth from his new coat and hat, he felt an unfamiliar sensation wash over him, a sense of peace mixed with hope. For so long, darkness had clouded his mind. Now there was light breaking through, a flicker igniting within him that whispered possibilities yet untold. As sleep began to take hold, Malik dreamt vividly, of snowflakes falling gently around him, while laughter echoed in the distance. Children playing together without worry or fear, families gathering around tables filled with food and love, and most importantly, him standing tall among them all. In those dreams, he could feel himself transforming, not just physically but emotionally too, as if each piece of clothing represented another layer being shed from his past struggles. With every stitch woven into that coat came resilience. With every lace tied on those boots came strength. With every thread spun in that hat came warmth not only for his body, but also for his soul. Little did Malik know that this simple act of kindness would set off a chain reaction, one that would change not only his life, but also touch others along the way. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, yet also opportunities for growth, a chance to rise above adversity, armed with newfound hope shining brightly within him. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting hues of gold across rooftops, Malik awoke feeling refreshed and ready to face whatever lay ahead. Today wasn't just another day, it marked a turning point, a moment where everything began anew under bright possibilities waiting patiently for him beyond those alley walls. Life-changing impact. As the sun rose over the city, casting a warm golden light across the streets, Malik felt a renewed sense of purpose coursing through him. The warmth of his new coat enveloped him, like a protective shield, and he couldn't help but smile at the thought of what lay ahead. Today was not just another day. It was a new beginning. After gathering his few belongings, he stepped out of his nook and into the bustling streets. The world felt different somehow, brighter, more vibrant. The laughter of children playing in the park echoed in his ears, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of belonging. He was no longer just an invisible boy. He was Malik, and he was ready to face whatever challenges came his way. As he walked through the city, he noticed people looking at him differently. Perhaps it was the confidence radiating from his new coat, or maybe it was simply that he felt more visible. A couple of children playing nearby paused to stare at him in awe, their eyes wide with admiration. "Nice coat," one of them shouted, grinning widely. "Thanks," Malik replied, his heart swelling with pride. He had never received compliments before. It felt exhilarating to be acknowledged in such a way. Encouraged by this newfound attention, Malik decided to head toward the community center, where he had often seen kids gather for activities. He had always wanted to join, but had been too shy and insecure about his appearance. Today felt different. He felt ready to take that leap. As he approached the center, he could hear laughter and music spilling out into the street. Taking a deep breath to steady his nerves, Malik pushed open the door and stepped inside. The warm air enveloped him like a comforting hug, and he immediately felt at home. Inside, children were engaged in various activities. Some were painting, others were playing games, and a few were gathered around a table working on crafts. Malik stood just inside the doorway for a moment, taking it all in. He felt a pang of longing to be part of this joyful scene. "Hey there! Come join us!" called out a girl with curly hair and bright blue overalls. She was sitting at a table covered in colorful papers and markers. Her welcoming smile made Malik's heart flutter with hope. "Really? You want me to?" Malik asked hesitantly. "Of course. We could use more hands," she replied enthusiastically. "I'm Mia. What's your name?" "Malik," he said softly as he approached the table. As he sat down beside her, he felt an overwhelming sense of acceptance wash over him. The children welcomed him with open arms, inviting him into their conversations and activities as if he had always been part of their group. They shared stories about their lives, some about school, others about their families, and Malik found himself laughing along with them as they crafted paper snowflakes and decorated them with glitter. For hours, they worked together, creating beautiful decorations for an upcoming holiday party at the center. Malik poured himself into the project, feeling more alive than ever as laughter filled the air around him. Each moment spent with these new friends chipped away at the walls of loneliness that had surrounded him for so long. As they took a break for snacks, Malik shared his story with Mia and her friends, how he had been living on the streets, and how finding that gift had changed everything for him. They listened intently, their expressions shifting from curiosity to empathy as they learned about his struggles. "That's so brave of you," Mia said earnestly after he finished speaking. "You should come back here every day. We can be friends." Malik's heart swelled at her words. Friends? It had been so long since anyone had called him that. "I'd like that," he replied shyly, feeling tears prick at his eyes again, not from sadness this time, but from overwhelming joy. After spending several hours at the community center, Malik reluctantly said goodbye to his new friends, but left with an eagerness to return tomorrow. As he walked back through the city streets toward his nook that evening, he couldn't help but feel lighter than air, the weight of loneliness lifted from his shoulders. The next few days flew by in a whirlwind of activity and friendship. Malik returned to the community center each day, immersing himself in art projects, games, and conversations with Mia and her friends. They introduced him to other kids who welcomed him into their circle without hesitation. With each passing day, Malik grew more confident. His laughter rang out louder than before as he shared jokes and stories with those around him. The coat that had once seemed like just an article of clothing became a symbol of transformation, a reminder that kindness could change lives in profound ways. One afternoon during arts and crafts time, Mia proposed an idea that lit up Malik's face with excitement. "Let's put on a show for everyone. We can perform skits and sing songs. It'll be fun." Malik's heart raced at her suggestion. "Do you really think we can do that?" "Absolutely. We just need to practice," she exclaimed enthusiastically. And so began their preparations for the holiday show, a project that united all the kids at the center in creative collaboration. They brainstormed ideas for skits based on their favorite stories and songs they loved to sing together. Malik found himself stepping out of his comfort zone more than ever before. He volunteered to take on roles in skits, despite initially feeling shy about performing in front of others. With encouragement from Mia and their friends, he discovered talents within himself that had long been buried beneath layers of fear and doubt. As rehearsals progressed over the following weeks leading up to the show, Malik blossomed before everyone's eyes. His confidence soared as he embraced each role wholeheartedly while laughing alongside those who cheered him on every step of the way. Finally came performance night, a culmination of hard work, filled with anticipation, buzzing through every corner of the community center like electricity in the air. Friends gathered together under twinkling lights strung across walls adorned with colorful decorations crafted by none other than Malik himself. When it was time for their group performance, their rendition of the Nutcracker featuring improvised scenes filled with humor, Malik stood backstage feeling butterflies fluttering wildly inside him, yet also an exhilarating sense of belonging washing over him like waves crashing against shorelines. As they took center stage amidst applause ringing through crowded seats, filled with parents and community members alike, Malik felt alive like never before. Each laugh shared among friends ignited sparks within him, illuminating paths toward brighter futures ahead, filled not only with dreams, but also love from those who believed in them wholeheartedly. Afterward came hugs exchanged between performers, celebrating success together while basking under warm glow radiating from newfound friendships forged amidst challenges faced along this journey toward healing, a testament showcasing resilience found within even darkest corners where hope flickered dimly, yet never extinguished completely. That night marked more than just another holiday celebration. It signified milestones achieved through unity forged among kindred spirits coming together, despite differences separating them initially, their hearts intertwined by threads woven tightly through shared experiences, overcoming struggles faced along paths traveled thus far, leading toward brighter tomorrows, awaiting eagerly beyond horizons yet unseen. As Malik lay down beneath stars twinkling brightly overhead later that evening, reflecting back upon everything experienced recently, he knew deep within soul something extraordinary happened. Kindness received transformed life forevermore, opening doors previously thought locked tight beyond reach. Little did he realize how much impact this journey would have, not only on himself, but also those around who witnessed transformation unfold right before eyes, reminding everyone involved power held within simple acts, extending compassion, reaching far beyond mere moments shared together, creating lasting memories cherished eternally. As the holiday season approached, the community center buzzed with excitement. The decorations hung proudly throughout the building, colorful streamers, twinkling lights, and handmade ornaments crafted by the children. Malik felt a sense of belonging that he had never experienced before, and each day spent with his new friends filled him with joy and purpose. The day of the holiday show finally arrived. The air was thick with anticipation as families gathered in the community center, filling every chair and corner with warmth and laughter. Malik stood backstage, his heart racing with a mix of nerves and excitement. He could hear the chatter of parents and siblings, their voices blending into a comforting hum. Mia peeked through the curtain beside him, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We're going to be amazing," she whispered. giving him a reassuring nudge. "Just remember to have fun." Malik nodded, taking a deep breath to calm his racing heart. He glanced down at his new coat. Its deep blue fabric felt like a protective shield against his insecurities. He had come so far since that fateful day when he found the gift on the street. Now he was part of something bigger than himself. As the curtain rose, Malik stepped onto the stage alongside Mia and their friends. The spotlight illuminated their faces, casting a warm glow that made Malik feel invincible. The audience erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the room like music to his ears. The performance began, filled with laughter and creativity as they acted out scenes from The Nutcracker, interspersed with their own improvisations. Malik threw himself into each role, channeling all his energy into entertaining those who had come to support them. Laughter erupted from the audience as they watched Malik's antics, a far cry from the shy boy who had once hidden in the shadows. As they reached the climax of their performance, Malik felt a surge of confidence wash over him. He realized that he was no longer just a boy struggling to survive. He was an integral part of this community, a friend, a performer, and someone who brought joy to others. When they took their final bow, the applause was deafening. Malik's heart swelled with pride as he looked out at the smiling faces in the crowd, parents cheering for their children, friends celebrating together, and community members who had come to support them all. After the show concluded, families mingled in the center's main hall for refreshments. Malik was surrounded by his friends, each one glowing with happiness from their successful performance. Mr. Thompson approached them with a broad smile on his face. "You all did an incredible job," he exclaimed, clapping his hands together. "I'm so proud of each one of you." "Thank you," Mia replied excitedly. "It was so much fun." Malik beamed at Mr. Thompson's praise, but felt a wave of gratitude wash over him as he reflected on how far he had come. Just weeks ago he had been alone on the streets. Now he was surrounded by friends who cared about him. As they enjoyed snacks and shared stories about their favorite moments from the show, Malik felt an overwhelming sense of belonging settle in his heart. He realized that this community had become his family, a group of people who understood him and accepted him for who he was. Later that evening, as families began to leave, Mr. Thompson gathered everyone together for a special announcement. "Before we wrap up tonight's festivities," he said, "I want to take a moment to recognize someone very special." Malik's heart raced as Mr. Thompson turned to face him directly. "Malik has shown incredible courage and resilience over these past few weeks," he continued. "He has not only embraced our community, but has also inspired all of us with his determination to rise above challenges." Malik felt heat rise to his cheeks as everyone turned to look at him, smiles beaming brightly in encouragement. "I would like to present him with this certificate of achievement," Mr. Thompson said, handing Malik a beautifully framed certificate that read, "In recognition of courage and community spirit." Tears welled in Malik's eyes as he accepted it with trembling hands. It wasn't just a piece of paper. It represented everything he had fought for, the struggles endured and triumphs celebrated along this journey toward healing. "Thank you," Malik managed to say through choked emotions. "I couldn't have done it without all of you." His voice quivered slightly as he looked around at his friends, their faces filled with pride and support. As everyone cheered for him once more, Malik realized how powerful kindness could be. Not just for those who received it, but also for those who gave it freely, without expecting anything in return. That night marked not only an end, but also a beginning. A new chapter filled with possibilities, waiting patiently ahead, beyond horizons yet unseen. With every hug exchanged among friends celebrating success together, came hope shining brightly, illuminating paths forward, leading toward brighter tomorrows, awaiting eagerly beyond challenges faced along this journey thus far. As Christmas Eve approached just days later, the air thickened with excitement surrounding preparations underway throughout community centers across town, Malik found himself immersed within joyous celebrations, filled laughter ringing through halls, echoing warmth shared among neighbors coming together united by spirit generosity, overflowing everywhere. On Christmas morning itself, after spending time volunteering alongside fellow kids, helping prepare meals, distribute gifts families less fortunate than themselves, Malik returned home, feeling fulfilled, knowing impact made extended beyond mere moments shared together, creating lasting memories cherished eternally. Later that afternoon, while sitting outside enjoying sunshine streaming down warming skin, Mia joined him, bringing along small wrapped gift, nestled carefully within arms, cradled gently against chest. "What's this?" Malik asked curiously, watching her closely as she handed it over eagerly. "Open it!" she urged excitedly, bouncing on her toes, unable to contain enthusiasm bubbling forth like sparkling cider, fizzing up glasses filled cheers, celebrating joyfulness shared among friends. With careful hands unwrapping paper revealing surprise hidden inside, a beautifully crafted journal adorned intricate designs, capturing essence magic held within pages waiting eagerly filled stories, yet untold, waiting patiently beneath surface yearning escape into world imagination, unleashed freely flowing creativity. "Wow, this is amazing!" Malik exclaimed, genuinely touched by thoughtfulness behind gift bestowed upon him so generously without hesitation whatsoever. "I thought you could write down your dreams," Mia said softly, her eyes shimmering brightly, reflecting warmth radiating from friendship blossoming between them both. "I will," Malik promised, feeling gratitude swell within heart, knowing friendship forged through kindness would last forevermore, transcending boundaries separating them. Initially reminding everyone involved power, held within simple acts, extending compassion, reaching far beyond mere moments, shared, creating lasting memories cherished eternally. As evening descended upon city streets, illuminated twinkling lights adorning homes nestled snugly against snowy landscapes, blanketing ground below, a sense peace enveloped Malik, wrapping around him tightly like embrace, shared between loved ones, reminding everyone involved power held within simple acts, extending compassion, reaching far beyond mere moments, shared, creating lasting memories cherished eternally. That night, before drifting off into dreams, filled laughter echoing throughout hallways reminding everyone involved, power held within simple acts, extending compassion, reaching far beyond mere moments, shared, creating lasting memories cherished eternally. Malik closed his eyes, feeling gratefulness wash over him like waves crashing against shorelines, reminding everyone involved power, held within simple acts, extending compassion, reaching far beyond mere moments, shared, creating lasting memories, cherished eternally. He knew deep down that this Christmas would forever hold significance, not just because it marked holiday season, but rather because it symbolized transformation experienced along journey traveled thus far, leading toward brighter tomorrows awaiting eagerly beyond horizons yet unseen.